internet. Around here I go by Cat of Diamonds, and welcome to my Fannish Reviews. It is the last day of February, so I have my February wrap-up for you. The first book I finished this month was We Should Hang Out Sometime by Joss Sundquist, and I don't have it. My friend Carrie is borrowing it right now. I also asked her to do a group chat review of it with me, so I probably won't be reviewing that one for a while. I don't know when we're gonna hang out next time. The second book I finished this month was In the Afterlight by Alexandra Bracken, which was the third and final book in the Darkest Minds trilogy, so it was a little bit rough to get started, I think mostly personally because it had been so long since I had read the second one. As far as like the pacing and everything that it takes to make a great capsule book, I cried. By the end I cried. It was saying goodbye to these characters. I just realized that this was the last time I would ever spend any time with these characters, and there are just some characters in that series that I will miss so much. I also got it from the library, which is why I don't have it. Speaking of getting books from the library, I also got Glow by Kathleen Ryan. Glow is the first in the Sky Chasers series, and I actually will not be continuing this series. The concept was really interesting in the sense that there was two ships that left Earth to help explore the universe and settle on a new planet, but then there was this point in the plot and the character and the themes that it just seemed like there was so much being thrown at you. I actually likened this book to watching Project Runway when the judges were like, we like where you were going with this, but we think you needed to edit a little bit. You had too many ideas in the dress. That's kind of how I felt about this book. I also want to say that if you do want to try this book, there is a trigger warning for sexual assault. There aren't actually any rape scenes, but there is definitely rape implied. So yeah, trigger warning if you feel like giving Glow a shot. The fourth book I finished this month was The Paper Magician by Charlie N. Holmberg, and I have its own standalone review right here. It's the only books that I actually reviewed on its own this month, so if you'd like to go see that, click on that. And now moving on. The fifth book I read this month was One Good Deed, a 365 Days of Trying to Be Just a Little Bit Better by Erin McHugh, and I don't want to say that I hated this book, but I loathe this book. I saw the title in my friend's Instagram feed and I was hoping that it was like a book of all these wonderful random acts of kindness, but really it was a guide to just being a little bit better. Erin McHugh has written many books. I felt like I was reading a journal that didn't need to be published. To say that she was living her life just a little bit better sets the bar for her and who she was prior to very, very low. For every one good deed that happened in this book, there were 3 more that were self-serving, and it was like the author was just tooting her own horn way too often. I know that random acts of kindness don't need to be these huge, amazing gestures all the time, but it was really like a guidebook of not being a rude or mean person. I was just so frustrated by this, and there were some times where you're like, yes, that's so nice, and then she would say something right afterward, and I'm like, no, that didn't come from a nice place at all. So basically this is a guide to holding your tongue when you think nasty things about people, giving people advice that you're so graciously giving to them when it was completely unsolicited and you know nothing about that person, so that why would your advice be so valued, I guess. This is the only physical book I have for my wrap-up, and I cannot wait to get it out of my house. Like, I was so frustrated reading it, and I'm spending this much time on it because I was originally going to give it its own review, and I just didn't even want to do that. And then the last book I finished this month was Invaded by Melissa Landers, which is the second book after The Alienated. And right now these stand as a duology. I looked on Goodreads, at least in the app, and I didn't see any announcements for a third book, but I really enjoyed Invaded, actually more than I enjoyed Alienated. I liked Alienated, and I really liked Invaded. I thought because of the first book being all about our 2 main characters and setting up their relation to each other, the second book was so much more about plot and the whole universe that this author is creating. In case you want to read the first book and then this one, in this alternate universe, aliens have come and introduced themselves to us, and there's like an exchange program with the students and youth of the both races. The first book is on Earth and the second book is at the alien planet, which is probably why I liked it so much, as you can see in my face. And then I have so many books set up to read for March. I actually tried to get Sarah J. Maas's Heir of Fire done this month, and I really only got this far. It was really hard for me to get into it. The first chapter was just, I tried to read it twice and it didn't even work out until I sequestered myself in the bath and got to chapter 9, which is where I am now. So I will probably definitely be finishing that next month. But I might set it aside because also from the library I finally got Golden Sun, and I've been really excited to read this book. So I don't know which one I'll read next. And since I'm showing you books I'm reading, I might as well show you the rest of my TBR. I also got this amazing Understanding the World infographic book from the library. They special ordered it, so I'm the first one to read it, and I'm very excited. It's huge though, so I'm not going to hold it up. I will probably do a standalone review on this just because it is so fascinating. I've also been reading Dr. Tatiana's Sex Advice to All Creation since the beginning of the year. I'm about halfway through, so I don't know how much more I will get into it in March. And then I have been putting off All That's Solid It Melts into Air, not because I don't want to read it, I really, really want to read it, but I keep on getting books from the library, which is a problem for me. So I only have one more book requested from the library, and then I've been cut off because I need to read my own books, and I really want to read All That Solid Melts into the Air because, I've been wanting to read this book since I purchased it, and then other books kept on getting in the way. So I'm prioritizing this one for March, absolutely. And if I have time for a 6th book in the month of March, I'm going to do Let's Get Lost by Adi Alsed. I won this in a giveaway that I talked about in my last video, so I am excited to get into it since it was generously given to me for free via a giveaway. And if I make it to a book even after that, then I'm going to read Dark World by Carolyn Schultz, which also I won in the giveaway that I talked about in my last video. So that's pretty ambitious for March that I can't even hold it in the frame. So that's my wrap-up video for this month. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If this is your first time to my channel, please subscribe if you enjoyed the video and stick around and maybe watch a few more. Of course, if you want to talk about any of the books that I've talked about, please leave me comments and I will happily engage with you down there. And of course, until my next video, happy reading. As you can probably tell from the title, I have books to haul and unbox for you, but since it's cold outside, I named it this silly title. It